Southeast Radio's morning mix.
Southeast Radio.
Look, we're going to look at Aikido, and I have to keep saying, don't be saying IKEA. For some reason, I thought we were going to do a different type of building.
Aikido, yeah.
What is Aikido?
Well, first of all, the word Aikido, there's three syllables: I, Ki, and Do. I is translated is harmony, Ki is spirit, and Do is the way. So Aikido is the way of spirit and harmony. It's a traditional Japanese martial art. It's non-confrontational, and we don't meet force with force, and we don't rely on strength. So that's really, really important. And the way we practice is that you take an aggressor's force that's coming towards you, and I use the word aggressor and explain why I'm not saying attacker, because it'll come clear as we're chatting. Yeah. But we take an aggressor's force and we basically redirect, we harmonise and control.
Is there contact?
There is contact, yes, but if you think of the movement's being circular as opposed to direct, so you're not blocking and counter-attacking, you are blending and harmonising in a circular way, so you control the incoming force. So you're actually trying to take the balance, both the mental and physical balance of an aggressor, so that's how we practice. We basically it's non-competitive, it's not a sport, it's a martial art. So when you're practicing, you're training with your partner, and you're both trying to improve. So you're not trying to win, you're not trying to beat them. So it's you don't get that sort of fight element. So you're both free and relaxed to.
So
to
what do you get most from all of this then?
Oh, there's a whole. You could write there are books on it. Obviously, you get the physical benefit of training. You get the interest in the historic martial art, which probably explain a little bit more where it comes from. So you get that side of it, but there's also the mental benefits outside Aikido. One thing should say is a lot of martial arts tend to be very male dominant. Well, Aikido, because of its non-confrontational approach, means there's a better balance of men and women that train. So it's more inclusive, and it's more comfortable for a woman to walk into a training hall. We call it the dojo. When it's you haven't got that sort of male aggression that's there, it's a lot more inclusive.
And the kit is the white gear?
Basically.
Are the belts in this as well?
Interestingly, in Aikido, it's a white belt until you get to instructor level. There's no coloured belts, but there are gradings just like there are in most of the other martial arts. They're just not coloured belts. So until you get to an instructor, you all look the same, which is also very interesting. Is you're not constantly, oh, he's better than I am, he's been training, or she's been training longer. You're all the same. So
you say you're a martial arts instructor. So
yes.
Did you look at the other areas like taekwondo and karate?
I started martial arts. I did a bit of judo in my teens, and then I did karate in the heyday of the Bruce Lee films, when everybody wanted to do martial arts.
How good did you get? What belt did you get?
I got a black belt in karate.
Did you?
And then I decided that I needed something different, a different mental, physical challenge, and I found Aikido in the UK, which is where I'm from, and I've been doing Aikido for over 30 years, and I've been instructing for 25 years, and it just gave me what I wanted. So yeah.
Okay, the background, the history of it, originating in Japan.
Yeah, it was invented as a martial art, or given the name, by a guy called Mohirai Ueshiba, and it was just before the Second World War. But it is based on 14th century samurai principles, so it's got a great tradition, which often attracts people with that interest. But in the Second World War, or just after the Second World War, all martial arts were banned in Japan for obvious reasons, and after, when things settled down, Ueshiba, which we call great teacher, sensei, great teacher, he reformed Aikido and changed it to try to reinforce and put out the image of harmony and peace. So he sent his guys out into the world after the Second World War, and there was a guy came to an island. There's a guy called Alan Ruddock, who was from Dublin, and he trained in Japan with Osensei, and he brought Aikido to Ireland in 1965.
Right.
So it's been here a while, but there is not an awful lot of Aikido. There's only a handful of clubs, and most of those, I think, are around Dublin.
Right.
And there's no Aikido, unless any of your listeners want to correct me, I don't think there's any Aikido clubs or groups
And
currently.
not any longer, because you're setting up in Clonard in Wexford town, aren't
Yeah,
you?
so there's nothing in the south of Ireland at all.
Yeah.
Certainly nothing in the southeast. So after a lot of thought, I moved over with my wife Wendy about 2 years ago, and decided, why not? There's no Aikido to train locally, so I shall try and bring it to Wexford and the southeast. So we're starting up a group next week, and fingers crossed we shall. Hopefully, with your help today, we shall gain some more interest.
You've got a Facebook page. It's spelled AIKIDO Wexford, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. I haven't got a website as such yet, but everything is on the Facebook page, and if anybody's interested and they want to contact you, we have a beginners class starting next week, next Monday.
Right. And age is not a barrier. You talk about the 75-year-old man who eventually his wife asked him to retire from it.
That's right. It's the oldest guy I've actually taught. A guy called Arthur. He was a great guy, and his wife just said, "No, you silly old fool. It's time you give it up." So he did as he was told, and he gave it up. But there are, unfortunately, I should say, it is good for kids, but I don't have the support system to teach kids. Here at the moment.
So you're looking for 18 up? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take them from probably 16 and maybe 14 if there's a parent or guardian there. So we've got all the child protection there, but I don't have the physical support system to teach young children. I did in the UK, but not here. Hopefully, in the future, we'll be able to. But so for now, it's sort of.
Yeah.
Old teens, young adults.
Did you ever, you talked about your involvement with karate, and you're a black belt in karate. Did you ever have to use that by way of self-defense? Were you ever attacked yourself?
That's interesting, but not necessarily as attacked. I've not been in any street fights, but the self-defense element is interesting. Martial artists, you give them a few pints of Guinness and a bottle of wine, and they'll talk for hours about which martial art's better than the other one for self-defense. All martial arts will help self-defense, but they all have limitations and they all have rules. Somebody who attacks you in the street doesn't play by the rules, and it's a scary world out there at the moment. There's more people using knives, but if we can help people build their confidence, their self-awareness, stop them looking inwardly, looking down at the ground and look wide, that is the better. So yes, you can help with self-defense.
And will Aikido help you by way of self-defense?
Yeah, the techniques you use are to deal with attack and defense, but I would always advocate you've got to be careful with self-defense and martial arts. Yes, they do help with self-defense, but if somebody attacks you and you freeze and panic like a rabbit in the headlights, and you can't breathe, move and relax, then all your techniques aren't going to work. But your martial arts training will help you manage the situation better.
With your judo, which is another discipline you have, did you compete?
I only did judo for a short while. My martial arts experience predominantly was karate and Aikido. Yeah.
A typical class then will be what? When someone comes to you, what happens?
There'll be some warm-up work. Then you train. Basically, the way you train is the instructor will show a technique. It will pick somebody. They will attack. You'll defend. You'll go through a technique, and then everybody practices that, and we all try and improve it. You'll practice in pairs. You'll practice in groups, and generally improves your fitness. And usually we have a great time. Usually everybody's smiling, and
Just final issue, and you said you'd like to leave it to the last question, so I'll put it to you. You talked about the impact of COVID-19 on people, and people still have a reluctance to return to their pre-pandemic activities. And I think you want to point out that this is something that you could actually do, something new.
I think so, yeah. I think certainly in Ireland, I think as far as the kids are concerned, there's a lot of GAA, there's a lot of positive. The kids are outside doing things. But I think adults, we've been socially damaged by COVID and all the restrictions, and we need to try to get out there and do things, and martial arts with the confidence, the building of the self-confidence, and the fitness and the mental and physical and mental well-being improvements, it's a great activity for people to get involved with.
Right. And you're a sprightly 68 and you look much younger. So I've just discussed the whole world of aesthetics as well. So between aesthetics and taking up this Aikido, you could lead a longer, healthier life.
That's right. We can't change the aggression in the outside world, which is with us every time we switch the news in, but we can help to manage our own aggression and help deal with others' aggression towards us.
I hope it goes well for you. I wish you the very best of luck with it. It's Aikido Wexford on Facebook, AIKIDO Wexford on Facebook. I hope you get a good turnout. And the first class is when? It's on
Monday evening.
The 13th of November, which is 2 weeks away.
7:30.
Southeast Radio's morning mix.